Welcome to the Campfire, and today we're analyzing Class 4A in the greater Houston area. Let's take a look at those teams in our film session, presented by the Houston Area Chevy Dealers. In 4A Division II, Belleville took a hit when they graduated DJ Sanders and Didi Murray. Head coach Grady Rowe always has some athletes up his sleeve, and perhaps running back Kendrick Turner could be that guy. But at Sealy, they're talking about Elijah Sanders, last year's Utility Player of the Year for the Tigers in District, and helped Sealy to the regional final. The Tigers should be a favorite again this fall. In 10-4A Division II, it was a mad dash for the district crown, and Columbia and Brookshire Royal wound up tying for that title. Braden Gilliam of Columbia and Jaden Palmer of Royal were co-defensive players of the year, and both returned to lead their respective squads. In 4A Division I, Worthing became the first HISD team in quite some time to win a playoff game, as they finished 11-1 on the season. It'd be difficult to repeat that feat anyway, as they were very senior-heavy last year. Other HISD teams to look out for are the explosive Yates Lions, Fur, Wheatley, and North Forest. 12-4A is going to be fun too in Division I. Crawford is a serious sleeper. They made the postseason last year and returned just about everyone from a year ago, including playmaker Alvin Mosley. Navasota brings back first-team receiver Daquan Pratt. Needville will have a couple junior standouts, quarterback Cameron Hall and running back Kobe Campbell. Looking into Region 4, Bay City had a remarkable season that ended in the regional finals. Some of the top dogs on that team have graduated, but defensively, linebacker James Copeland could shine.
The film session is presented by the Houston Area Chevy Dealers. Together, let's drive. Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today. The Campfire is brought to you by DQ for treats and eats before and after the game.
For an even deeper look at Class 4A, here's producer Ward Fasold and Matt Stepp from Dave Campbell's Texas High School Football with the District Breakdown.
All right, District Breakdown time. Matt Stepp joins me again from Texas High School, Dave Campbell's Texas High School Football, and we are talking Class 4A. We talked about this in realignment. We talked about two things last year in 4A Division I, but realignment really favored Bay City and El Campo because they got put out of the kind of Houston area and got to play some San Antonio teams. Maybe it didn't work out for them as well as they thought in the playoffs, especially Bay City who ran into Lavergne over there. But the other thing we talked about, maybe we start here. We talked about Houston ISD and how you kept telling me probably from week 6 on, I think Houston ISD can get a win in the playoffs, which is very rare in 4A, and they got one with Worthing. Can they get 2 this year, or am I grasping at straws here, just trying to get them squads in there? What's Houston ISD looking like in 4A?
I think it's going to be a little tougher this year. Worthing graduated a really good senior class. Yates has a lot back, but they lost their coach. Raphael Thomas left to go take a 6A job in the Metroplex there at Mesquite High. I think he'll do a great job there. So I think Worthing and Yates are still the top 2 teams in the district, but both enter the season with some question marks. Also, you look at District 12 across from them, and I think District 12 is going to be really tough this year. I think District 12's got 2, in my opinion, elite teams at the top. I think Fort Bend Crawford is going to be a real problem next year. The year 2 bump, David Jackson did a heck of a job at Crawford last year, getting them into the playoffs in year 1 with no seniors. They got everybody back, 11 starters back on both sides of the ball. Remember 2 years ago at Iowa Colony, their second year, how good of a year they had. I expect a similar type of season from Fort Bend Crawford this year. They're going to be really good.
All right, brother, we'll talk to you.
We'll post the entire breakdown segment this Wednesday on our social media pages. Now let's take a look at some game changers in our Players on the Rise, presented by Parker University. Wharton quarterback Jakeon Jackson was 10-4A Division I's offensive MVP. He threw for 1,200 yards and 20 touchdowns, but when he wasn't passing, Jakeon was a man on the run, 874 yards on the ground to go along with 13 more touchdowns, And you could see why he had the Tigers on the verge of postseason play. Another returning district offensive MVP is Houston Yates quarterback Chris Brown. As a signal caller, Brown threw for over 2,400 yards and 30 touchdowns to just 4 picks. He ran for 1,270 yards and 17 more scores. The dynamic playmaker was as elusive as the Easter Bunny. Lions scored 40 or more points in 6 of their 8 wins last season, and Chris Brown was the main reason why. Needville has been a player in 12-4A Division I for the past couple years, and junior quarterback Cameron Hall aims to keep the Blue Jays near the top. As a sophomore, Hall threw for 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns for a second-place Needville squad. Cameron is a pure pocket passer who's poised in the pocket. Hall will look to cut down on his interceptions this year and should be vying for a district MVP. Bay City had a terrific year last fall, and if they hope to duplicate that success, they'll need big plays from wide receiver Jordan Johnson. In a pass-happy offense, Johnson was often option 3, but when his number was called, he made the most of it. 35 catches for 600 yards and 10 touchdowns. Bay City lost a lot of skilled position players due to graduation, so they're depending on Johnson for another big year.
The film session is presented by the Houston area Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive.
Our Ward for Sold caught up to Crawford head coach David Jackson to talk about his Chargers in our Media Day segment.
All right, it's Media Day, and we are joined by Crawford head coach David Jackson. And Coach, we were just talking off camera about how you wanted to kind of start your tradition, start your culture off right, and starting 2-0, making a playoff spot in one of your first district runs here. That's starting off right. So how did you feel last year went for you? I know it ended up being a losing record, but it was a playoff team, and it was a team that kind of got a bunch of us media guys on the bandwagon real quick.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I love the opportunity to, highlight my kids and our coaches here. Last year we look at it as a one big learning experience for us. Really, it was all about getting our guys, and when I say our guys, I mean our players, but also our coaches, experience. We have a couple of coaches that were we moved up from the middle school level, and they got some experience coaching varsity ball. And then our kids, I think we only had 3 kids who had any varsity experience on the entire roster last year. So everything we did was the first time for us as a program. And so it was just really exciting to see us gel. We took on some really, really tough opponents there kind of in the middle of the season, but it prepared us for the district run. And, going into the last game of the season, being, ranked number 2 or rated number 2 in the district, and then losing to a really good Navasota team. But still getting that 4th spot was just another week of practice for us, another opportunity for us to get better, and it's kind of catapulted us into this year. Taught our kids how to be hungry, the importance of finishing. It was just a lot of great learning that happened for us, all while getting, the opportunity to make a playoff run.
I appreciate you joining me, Coach, and good luck to your Chargers this year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You can catch the entire interview Friday on our social media channels. Hey, that'll do it for this week's Campfire. Next week, we dissect individual districts starting with 8-5A Division II. Until then, have a great week, everybody.